Hello everybody, it's just JT here with my new Elder Scrolls Online build, my 1-bar Oakensoul nightblade bomber for the Firesong patch, and according to the new PTS that came out today, it looks like it's going to be very useful and viable for the foreseeable future. So, let's get into it. First, of course, I'm a nightblade, hence the nightblade bomber. Now, what race? As you can see, we are a Khajiit. Why are we a Khajiit? We are a Khajiit for the passives. In the passives of the Khajiit, you will see that we are going to get recovery, extra stats across the board, and then this is the big one. It increases your critical damage by 12% and decreases your detection with stealth. Being a bomber, both of these are very, very important. Next, let's get into the attributes. The attributes, we are going to be at 54 into magicka and 10 into stamina. Now, if you can look at the stat sheet here, we are rocking 22.7 magicka, 23.4 health, 16.8 in stamina. Those might seem low, but with our recovery, your stats are pretty much topped off most of the time. The goal is to effectively do your bomb, roll dodge out of there, stealth, and go hide for a minute. Get your stats back, come back in and bomb again. Now, you'll look, the weapon damage is at 5493, which goes up. If you'll see here, basically, if I go in to invisibility, you'll see that once I pop out, it pops up to 5889 in weapon damage. We're sitting at 33.8 weapon critical with a penetration of 9191. Physical resistances are meh, but you don't use those to survive. You basically use your stealth or you will die. This is a hit and run type of build. You don't want to be sitting there brawling with anybody. Alright, next let's go over the rest of the advanced stats. And you're going to see here that the main build that we have, because of our Mundus being the Shadow, our critical damage is sitting at 68%. And you say, well, what? It's only 68%. Well, on the advanced stat line, that doesn't include your base of 50%. So we're actually sitting at 118% critical damage, which is almost cap. And with some other things happening, you can get close to cap, basically. Alright, now let's get into the gear. Again, you guys have seen that this is going to be a 1-bar build, so you can assume that, yes, we are using Oakensoul. I have on the jewelry 1 Oakensoul ring infused with weapon damage, and a Plague Break ring infused with weapon damage, which will be our first set that we're going to talk about. You're going to see here that it goes offensive penetration, 2 lines of weapon spell damage, and then dealing direct damage causes enemies to become a plague carrier, dealing so much disease damage over 10 seconds. That's not what we're going for. That's great, but what we're going for is if the plague is removed early, it explodes and deals 4815 disease damage to all enemies, increasing per enemy hit by 50%. Now that's going to cap, but that is half of your bomb right there. Then you'll see, again, Plague Break necklace. On this one I have Bloodthirsty. You can go infused weapon damage. After this PTS cycle, if they don't change anything to Bloodthirsty, we will be changing to all Bloodthirsty on the jewelry if this PTS stays how it is today. And it just came out today, January 30th. So keep that in mind. Alright, next let's get over to our second set. And we are going to be using Rush of Agony. This set gives recovery, weapon and spell damage, more pen, and then when you deal direct damage with Blink, Charge, Leap, Teleport, or any pull ability, you pull all the enemies within 10 meters to you. After 2 seconds, you deal 11,000 physical damage. That is the other part of your bomb. Between the two sets, having that and hopefully Plague Break proc is where you get your big burst damage, along with your combo rotation, which we'll get into in a little bit. Okay, so basically this is a medium set, which is helping our crit damage. So what we're going to do is we're going to go all divine. All divine, and then you can break up the max stamina and your magicka depending on what you feel comfortable with, but I like how the stats were and has worked really well with hovering around 23,000 magicka and about 17,000 stam. Your stam recovery is so high that unless you do like 4 roll dodges in a row, you can keep stamina up quite a bit. You need the magic and the recovery to get into stealth, but you'll be roll dodging as your main defense, so it's nice to have that little bit extra of the stam. Alright, back to the inventory. Okay, so we have Oakensoul, so now we have 1 piece Magma Incarnate, and that is purely for the extra recovery. Meant to get 2 stat lines. There's other sets that produce the same thing, so feel free to change that out. I just like to have that little extra recovery. Alright, on our weapons, we are running again Plague Break with, we have 1 Nirnhond on your main. Your offhand will be sharpened, and we are using Escapist Poisons. These not only immobilize your target, they give you Unstoppable, which breaks you free, which is huge, because a lot of times when you're doing these bombs, you will get snared, and if you can't get out of there, you are in trouble. So what we also use in our inventory for our we use Unstoppable potions. So in our slottables, you will see that we are using Alliance Health Drop, which give you health and then health recovery. You become invisible and unstoppable for 9.6 seconds. So you want to pop this before you do your bomb, and then hopefully if you get caught trying to get out of there, your poisons will break you free so that you can roll dodge and get away is the idea. Alright, so now that we've gone over sets, we've gone over poisons, you've seen what the weapon spell damage is. The Mundus is the shadow. The attributes, we are Khajiit. We have gone over traits for our jewelry, and now we're going to get into the actual CP. On the CP, we have in the blue, which is the main one, we are going to be rocking, besides all the passives you can get. I mean, every passive you can get. You know, in Extended Might, you'll want to get your Piercing and your War Mage. If you don't have enough CP for that, Piercing is the most important, and then your Battle Mastery and your Mighty. Those are going to be the first ones you want to fill out in here. If you can, fill out everything else, but otherwise, don't stress it. Your 4 slottables that we're going to be running is going to be Wrathful Strikes, which is just going to give us 205 weapon to all of our damaging abilities. We're going to use Fighting Finesse to get as close to the crit cap as we can, and also helps with our crit healing. We are still using Occult Overload. Even though this tooltip looks very low, when it procs, it can be the difference between wiping an entire group or just killing one person. So we're still using Occult, and then Biting Aura. The Biting Aura increases your damage done to area effect, which is your ultimate, your Sap Essence. Those two things get buffed with that. And your ultimate is one of the big keys to actually getting the bomb to work. Without it, your effectiveness goes down by at least 50%. Okay. Again, on your passives, quick recovery is always great. Preparation. Then you'll go over here to Insight, and you also want Precision. Precision is very key because of the critical chance. And then last, you can put into Blessed if you need. Alright, now, for the red tree. And usually you think, red tree doesn't really matter that much. But on this build, it actually does. The reason is, right here, Bastion. Increases the effectiveness of your damage shields and damage against shielded enemies by 3%. So effectively, we're doing 15% more damage to anybody that's got a damaged shield on. So all your Sorks and now DKs have been running some shields. Your Warden with Shimmering Shield. You see what I'm saying. Anyways, very important. Next, I'm using Survival Instincts. Basically, what this is it reduces your core combat skills by 5% per stage. 25% total. Most people don't understand what core combat skills mean. Core combat are all the things that you don't even think about that cost stamina, magicka, things like that. They are roll dodge, block, sneak, sprint, all of the things, and you can actually look it up on what they are. So this is going to reduce your sneaking, your roll dodges, your break freeze, etc. So this is important to have, especially with the lower max stats. And then we're going to go into Celerity. Celerity is just for that extra little speed to try to get away so you can go hide and then come back when you have resources. Now on the last one, I have Balanced Vitality for the extra health. This is sort of flex. You could go into Slippery instead of the max or the extra health. Gives you an automatic break free. It's very good. So you can sort of flex that as you see. I just like the extra health. It feels like I survive a little bit better. Anyways. Alright, in the green tree. Now again, normally it doesn't matter, but with us, we are using Sustained Shadows to reduce the cost of sneak. We are using Steed's Blessing just for the extra combat speed when we need to go away. Gifted Rider, everybody uses that. And then Rationer just for the extra. But right here, this one, the Sustaining Shadows, is a big deal for us. And then also over here, if you have the passives in here, reduce movement speed, penalty of sneak, and also reduces the radius you can be detected while sneaking by 1 meter per stage. Also very nice. Okay, so now we have our sets. So now let's discuss how these sets work together and what you're trying to do with it. So in general, the basic idea is, if you'll see our bar, we're going to go over our skills. All right, it's very, very easy to understand. You have your sneak, and then you have a 3 skill combo, and then you have your 1 heal, Shrewd Offering. This is your heal. You will use that to heal yourself and then get away. And I'll go over the skills in order of how we're using them. First off, before we get any further, make sure you have all your passives in all your class lines. You'll need to have the dual wield completely done for your whirling blades. Medium armor. Light armor if you want, but medium armor to begin with. Heavy armor doesn't matter, not using any. You will be a vampire, and the vampire is just so that we get that extra spell damage. The rest of all of this doesn't really matter a whole lot. Fighter's Guild, great, yep. Definitely if you can, you know, just because we're not using anything, but go ahead. Undaunted would be great, but as you can see on mine, I haven't got there with him. I've been playing PvP and not doing dungeons. But eventually, I will have a little bit more resources because of that. But it's not necessary. This one is, you will want to have continuous attack. Increases your weapon and spell damage by 10% and your recoveries after you capture a lumber mill farm mine. You'll want that for the major gallop, but you also want it for the spell and weapon damage and recovery. 10% extra weapon and spell damage is nice. It's very nice. Make sure, if you can, always try to take one of the resources before you try to bomb anybody. Combat Frenzy is great for your ultimate, and we need ultimate. Okay. Support is all nice, sure. Max out your Khajiit line, of course. Alchemy. Get medicinal 2-3. Don't be lazy like me. Just helps your potions. But this build right now, with not even being completely finished, has been very effective and very fun to play. So don't be afraid of that. Just remember. Okay, so in the assassination line, we are using Lotus Fan. This is our first ability within our combo. You flash through the shadows and ambush an enemy, dealing so much magic damage. After that, you unleash a fan of knives, doing more damage over 20 seconds. Hopefully they're dead before that even becomes an issue. Here's why we use Lotus Fan. All enemies hit are affected with minor vulnerability for 10 seconds, increasing their damage taken by 5%. So, the Lotus Fan is how we proc our Rush of Agony. So, what we do is we basically stealth out. We've got our vampire line up. Then we Lotus Fan, Sap Essence, Spin to Win. Spin to Win. Roll dodge out. Hide. 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 Lotus Fan. Spin to Win and Plague Break procs. That explosion was when Plague Break and Rush of Agony hit at the right time. So again, once we have our stuff up, now right now we don't have an ultimate, but we'll build up to that. So basically, I'm stealthing, I'm gonna Lotus, Sap, Spin to Win, they blow up. Now I'm in trouble. Say these are regular people, I'm stealthing out. Now I have my ultimate. Okay? So I stealth, I Lotus, Sap, Spin. Okay? There was only 3 of them, so I didn't want to waste the... I'll show you now on a bigger pool. But basically, once you have your ultimate, you are going to do Lotus Fan, your ultimate, then Sap, then Spin. So, we got to get a few. Okay. Alright, we're going to Ghost Out. Let me see this. Okay, Ghost Out. I want to get them grouped a little bit better. Okay, here we go. So you see them all there. They're coming at us. We're going to jump, ultimate, Sap, and Spin. Then we Ghost Out. Just like in real combat, we're going to Ghost Out. And we do it again. Ghost Out. And we wait to bomb again. Okay. So again, you're really only using these... Whoop, I better kill these guys. They're coming for me. Same combo. Every time. It's the same combo. Ghost. And the secret to being successful is, if your bomb fails, get out of there. Don't try to finish it. even if they are super close to dying, if you continue to spin to win, more than likely you're going to get stunned and they're going to kill you. So do the combo, spin to win once, maybe twice, then get out of dodge. Get your resources back and come back for another run. Alright. Again, Lotus fan? Lotus fan? We have Shadowy Disguise. You need to max this out. Siphoning, you have your heal, which is Shrewd Offering. And Sap Essence. Sap Essence, the reason I use the Sap, just so you know, as opposed to the other one that does more damage, is this is your only chance to get a good heal. So if you come Ramboing in, which you're going to be with your Lotus fan, you're more than likely going to take some AoE damage from something that's on the ground. Hitting the Sap Essence can save your butt to get off the rest of your bomb, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Otherwise, all this takes is a lot of practice, and it's a lot of fun, and it's also great for just clearing trash content in game. The Plague Break will just blow everything up. But in conclusion, I hope you enjoy this build. In the comments, if you have any questions, feel free. I would appreciate any feedback that you have. Other than that, get out there and one bar it up. Thanks, guys. Till the next time.